Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and welcome back to the studio for another fitting with sartorial maestro Eric Jensen. Eric, thank you so much for coming back to Dallas. And of course, it's always a pleasure to see you on your trunk show.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm glad we got to spend some time together. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
You know, we saw each other last in New York.
Yeah. Quickly, though.
Quickly.
Yeah, you were on the run, I think.
But I think one of the great virtues of a U.S.-based tailor, of course, is that frequency with which one is able to see them, if not in person, wherever they're based, during one of their frequent trunk shows.
Yes.
And I think you've got quite a few cities now on your rotation.
Yeah, so we hit up a lot. So a lot in New York, obviously, but then we are down here in Dallas, then Houston, Las Vegas, LA, and then San Francisco. So we got a good trip, kind of encompassing as much of America as we can.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's better that way, especially as an American-based tailor. Being able to hit all the cities more often is
essential. A lot of people ask me, who's the best bespoke tailor? And there's plenty of great ones, of course, of which you are.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is the best bespoke tailor is the one that you're able to see frequently.
Exactly. It's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about bespoke tailoring is it's a dating game, and the more often we can see each other, the better our relationship is, the better our relationship is, the better the garment is.
Yeah.
And so, first time when we go through a first time garment, it always turns out great, but there's always opportunity to get better and better in every time. And the more we can see each other, the more we can do that. Especially people who change bodies. Like you've gone through a change of losing some weight.
A little bit of a metamorphosis.
Yeah, a little metamorphosis, which is good. And so men, as all of us, we always do that. We end up, shifting weights and stuff. And the more often you can see your tailor, the more they can adjust pattern for how they see you.
Yeah.
So.
And just refinement also of, other nuances of fit, right? I mean, it's not just chasing body weight, but my experience, with you and most of the bespoke tailors I've had the privilege of working with, is that even if a garment is, from the client's eyes, perfect.
Yes.
A great bespoke tailor is always looking at opportunities to tweak, refine, and improve.
Always. I had one of the best advices I ever got was from Edward Sexton, and I was actually meeting with him in London in a different world, and I was actually going to apprentice under him, but a lot of things changed. But anyways, the best thing he ever told me was, and this is Edward Sexton, he said, if you ever think any of your garments are perfect, you should just quit.
Yeah.
Because if you think your garments are perfect, then you're not striving for better, and if you're not striving for better, then you might as well just hang up your shears.
Yeah, interesting.
And so I always took that to heart, and every time I fit a client, there's always a chance where I can do better. And I almost hope let's make it something else because I know I can do better, even though the client's super happy, But there's always a way to do better. You're always adjusting things. So I'm changing the way in which I build canvases. I'm changing the way in which I shape armholes, everything. Every time that I come to a pattern, I want to figure out what I can do better.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Well, we've got an exciting fitting today.
Yeah.
I mean, a finish bar finish, I suppose. But
yes.
This is a special commission of some London Lounge, Lubbock Mill, tweed fabric that was something actually, I guess, inherited from a late friend.
A friend of both of ours.
Both of ours, and so a little bit of a sentimental garment.
Exactly.
And I thought who better to make it than you, of course.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being, generous enough to let me work on it with you. We kind of started this prior to your metamorphosis, so we did some adjustments, but we want to make sure that we've got everything right and make sure that the adjustments are correct and that the suit looks good or the coat looks good.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at it. I mean, absolutely beautiful cloth.
Yeah, this cloth is incredible, and no matter how many times I show this, which I don't think we can find this anymore, right? It's
well, I
gone.
think it was a special limited run.
Yeah, so I have a lot of clients who always ask, we're going to get that cloth. And I got to say,
yes, well, can't get it.
It's Kirby's.
Yeah. A special club. And, I wouldn't even have this if it weren't for my friend because, I'm not a member of the London Lounge.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful tweed. But one of the things that struck me with this is just how fluffy it is.
It's very fluffy tweed.
I mean, it kind of sounds funny to describe it like that, but, I mean, there's a lot of tweeds with, a hard finish.
Yep.
I mean, not a hard finish, but
it's almost like
more of a finish.
Yeah. The hairs they tend to stay more matted down on most tweeds, where this one kind of
it's really quite
has a good breath. To it.
Yeah, absolutely. So here it is.
Yeah.
So
I think we're on a great start. I think. I know we reduced the chest for you. We gave you a little more suppression in the waist as well. I think we have a fantastic back on it as well. The glaring issue that I see, and this happens to a lot of your coats, is they tend to fall away in the back right here. I know that this, when I first fit you and when I see other people fit you is you have a tendency to stand hunched and erect at the same time. And a lot of us fall into the trap of shortening your back balance.
Okay.
Because we see things right off the bat and we react, and I was guilty of this as well. And the more that so as weird as this may sound to you, but also as someone who makes for you,
Yeah.
I often watch how other people make for you.
Okay.
In my opinion, us as a tailor collective, I think we can learn a lot from each other, and in our failures and in our accomplishments.
Yeah.
So the guys who've accomplished on you and the guys who failed on you, I want to see what they've done, how they've reacted to things, and how those things have played out. And so the same thing kind of happens on your coat. So you have a little bit of a pullback here, and so I want to make sure that we take care of that. And you can do it. I'm going to go at it in a way in which I think the best thing to do is to kind of pinch up right here, about 2 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters. And I think that will be our fix from what I can see here.
Okay.
It's a two-way street, and if we were able to have this in a basted fitting, I think I'd have more ability to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start there, and if that's not our fix, then we're going to adjust in the balance in the back.
Yeah.
And
what about the collar? I mean, is the collar? I feel like it's sitting a little low in the back.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
This?
Yeah, so it's just kind of this right here,
Okay.
where you've got more shirt showing than you should.
Okay.
Or collar showing than you should. So
Yeah.
what we want is that to come up and kind of hug up in there.
Okay.
When we do that, you can feel a hollow kind of right in there. And
Yeah.
so if we are able to pick that up, then I'm 90% sure that's gonna fix that problem.
Okay.
There's that 10% that it might be the balance, in which case we'll have to add more length to your back balance. Because this isn't a basted fitting, I'm not 100% sure because I can't rip it.
Yeah.
But we have the ability to manipulate both those things.
Yeah.
So we'll manipulate, do one more, and then make sure. In this process, it's always better. So you get a lot of times with first-time clients who want a quick succession, so, I've seen other guys who come to you and they get it done in 2 fittings, or I've seen other guys who come to you and get it done in 3. Well, everyone's different, and, there are more difficult and challenging bodies than there are other bodies. And sometimes, the pattern, when I see you and I make your pattern, I'm able to just go, okay, well, I know this, this, and that, right?
Yeah.
And so we throw it on the pattern, we put it on the client, and it reads right, Other times I see you and I think, okay, I need to do this, this, and that, and I throw it on you and, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Which happens. But that's why we have fitting processes.
Yeah.
So the more patient someone can be in a bespoke process, the better their final garment is going to be.
How much of that process is measurement driven, and how much of it is inflecting in the pattern itself, kind of some of these more nuanced things that really only the eye can tell you?
It's that. Measurements, I believe in they're very important, and they have an important aspect in how we build patterns, obviously. But most people can take pattern measurements, right? It's the tailor that understands how to manipulate a coat due to the nuances of the client's body that's able to interpret those nuances and put them onto the pattern and then be able to reflect that onto the fitting.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're looking at a client and you're assuming kind of things, and you don't know how much of those assumptions you need to make. There's not a hard and fast rule, like I can't measure from your shoulder down and your other shoulder down, and I can calculate that exact angle of your shoulders or things like that, or exactly how far erect you stand or how far hunched you stand. So. That's why the fitting process is so important. Measurements taken are important and necessary, obviously, to build a pattern. But in my opinion, and from my experience, it's those nuances that make and break the code.
Yeah, and that's where the fittings become so important.
Exactly.
I mean, it's an actual integral part of the process that gives the final garment its integrity.
Exactly.
And of course, I mean, it's what separates a made-to-measure garment that's purely measurement-driven.
Yes.
And kind of run through an algorithm and spits out a pattern, and a bespoke garment where you still have, of course, a block pattern that's driven off of measurements, but then, inflect those more nuanced characteristics of one's body.
Exactly.
Shape and posture.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, and you hit it on the head. It's the difference between made to measure and actual bespoke garment. Because made to measure is taking, for the most part, measurements and spitting them, like you said, into an algorithm, or even taking them off of a block coat. So like if we were doing a made to measure right now and this was your block coat, I would be a little like all right, there's 2 ways I can go on this as a made to measure, but you don't get those options in a made to measure. It's just like, well, I got to choose one of the paths and we run with it. But with a fitting garment, we're able to, or with a bespoke and going through the fittings, I'm able to rip that apart and figure out exactly what needs to be done. So unfortunately, the coat's in 95% right there. But we've got that 5% that we need to fix.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And don't ever let a tailor go like, oh, it'll iron out, or, oh, just wear it for a while and it'll get better. Like, anybody that does that to you is in my opinion, just kind of shuffling you out the door.
Yeah.
And don't let someone just shuffle you out the door. Like, if there's a problem, I've always thought this way too. Like, if I don't see something and a client brings something up, like, let's say we didn't notice that, and you were like later, oh, my collar's pulling back. Like, if I see it, you see it. Like, it's my onus to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's for me to say, like, all right, let's fix it.
Don't pull it. We'll change it in the next garment.
Yeah, don't worry. The next one will be better.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you're stuck with a coat that you're not happy with.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be stuck with a coat you're not happy with. And the tailor shouldn't be happy with that either, because it's my name on your.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the process.
Yeah. All right. So in order to make sure that we've got how much we need to take out, let's pin it and just make sure that we can see that and we can show everybody what the alteration will be and how we'll go through that.
Yeah.
So let me grab some pins.
The tailor's pen and chalk.
Yeah, always. All right. So I'm going to button this real fast.
Okay.
Only because I don't want to misalign. You also have like all of us, we have an oddity in our shoulders where they connect in the neck. So you're lower at the neck on one side than you are at the other side.
Okay.
I'm the same way. I just am the opposite. I'm lower at the
My
neck.
dramatic drop, right?
Yes. So
Well documented.
yeah, well, good. I mean, you are on camera all the time, so. All right, so in order to get that set up, we're gonna pick up the shoulder. Ooh, good pin. I'm gonna stab you at this point because this broke. You're gonna keep that on. Now, my only question when I do this, I'm gonna ask if there's pressure anywhere that you didn't feel before, or if there's a release of pressure anywhere that you didn't feel before. Is there a release or is there an added pressure anywhere on the slope?
I mean, I feel where it's pinned.
Yeah, where it's pinned, but you're not feeling any extra in through here, in through there. Okay.
And is that another kind of, I guess, telltale sign that the garment isn't balanced correctly if you kind of feel it resting on the front of your shoulders?
Exactly. Yep. And the problems in that can be a few-fold as well. So you have to always pay attention to how the garment rests in the hollow of the shoulder, because you can make it can look good and almost kind of feel good, but if it doesn't settle in that hollow of the shoulder, then you've got problems. Usually in the shoulder slope, but it can also be in the balance as well.
Okay.
And then turn one more time. Okay.
What are you looking at?
So the main thing I'm looking at is kind of down in here. If it kind of dovetails out, then that shows me that it is actually a back balance problem. But you don't really have it here. I've seen it worse. So yeah, we've got some room. I'm gonna do a combination of both.
Okay.
It just to
Combination
me
of
giving you a little more length in your back, and then also picking up your shoulder.
And how do you add the length in the back?
Okay, so the way that it kind of is so if you think of a person as a normal, what we think of as a normal person, so they stand like this. Okay, so you need the same amount of distance from your front to the bottom as you do from your back to the bottom, right? So it's all the same.
And that's the balance of the jacket.
That's the balance of the jacket. So your balance points, the way in which a jacket hangs, is here. Okay, so these are your balance points right in through there. There's also balance points in the waist, but we won't go into that right now because we're dealing mostly with your front back balance. So if a guy is stooped like this, right, the distance between here and here became shorter,
Yeah.
and the distance between there and there became longer.
Okay.
So you need to give cloth over where you need more length, right? So what you would need, which is what I'm seeing on yours, is you have a short-ish back balance. So we don't have enough cloth here, and we've got enough cloth there.
Okay.
So we need to add more cloth to that. So in order to do that, if this wasn't a plaid, we'd shift this panel up. But because this is a plaid and we need to keep all these lines beautiful, what we're going to do is we're going to add length to up here. So we're going to do a combination of the two problems.
And so at that point, are you, so you're lengthening it from the top, and I guess that's
Exactly.
done. Are you detaching the collar?
Yes. So that's why I felt to make sure that we had
Inlay?
a little bit of inlay in here. And so I'm feeling, and we've got a good 1.5 centimeters, and I'd like to raise it about 1 centimeter. So
Okay.
we've got that 0.5 centimeter to keep the collar where we need it to be.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the beauties of a bespoke garment. If done properly, it has those inlays.
Exactly.
Even if the garment is finished.
Exactly.
So that, as one kind of goes through life, the garment can, evolve and kind of change with them.
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing that I always tell my clients when they ask me this. I say, you're investing money. I'm investing a lot of time into this. So between those two, if we had a garment that didn't last you 10, 15, 20 years, depending on how you changed, then we both are wasting our time.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to be able to enjoy this while you maintain a certain weight. And then all the effort and time that I put into it only goes into as long as you can wear it. So
Yeah.
as long as this is a garment that's supposed to last you for an exponentially a lot of time,
Yeah.
and we have to adjust for how we as humans change.
And that's part of the value proposition of bespoke is
Yeah.
that longevity.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it is certainly more money, but you end up with a garment that should have more life to it.
Exactly.
I mean, in addition to looking better and the durability and all the other characteristics of that value proposition, being able to wear it, for a long time and adjust it and let it out, if, it needs to be, and certainly within certain limits,
Yeah.
as we all know.
You can't grow.
Yeah.
You can't grow another two people.
Yeah, that's right.
There's only
Yeah.
so much I can let out and take in. All intents and purposes are
Yeah.
for it to be able to adjust and go with you. And that's I guess that brings us back to our other point about having a local tailor, is being able to see him more often. And when you do go through those changes, it's not, a trip halfway across the world. It's
Yeah.
closer, or you
Okay.
can meet him when he comes.
And I mean, sleeves look good. Everything else. You're
Yeah,
happy with?
I know that you like to not show much.
Yeah.
You're like a what, 1/4 inch?
Yeah, 1/4 inch.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think we're at on both sides,
I
which is
think so.
fantastic. The only thing that looks like it might be a little full is in the bicep.
Okay.
I
me.
like to have that room, but this almost reads a little too full from the visual.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that the armhole, when I detach the sleeve, that the armhole has sufficient room for us to reduce your bicep just a smidge, but still give you the ability for the range of motion.
Yeah.
Because you're not feeling hung up anywhere, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the only other thing I'd probably reduce that just about,
And would you, like on an odd jacket like this on a tweed, I mean, would you generally maybe kind of allow a little bit more room and drape than, say, like in a casual, or not a casual, but in a slightly more formal piece?
Yeah, definitely, because you're going to want to wear a sweater under it. You're going to want to, feel a little more relaxed in it. I tend to leave more ease everywhere in general in my cut. So what I always tell my clients is I cut a coat that doesn't fit you, but fits you, because I give you substantial room in your chest in order to give you a waist suppression that most of us don't have, and then into the hips. So I never want your coat when I make it to be for you to feel it suctioned on you.
Yeah.
I want you to have
little
that
bit of room,
about a bit of ease, that ease in the chest as well, and so that the coat doesn't wear you, but you end up wearing it in that kind of sense. No, everyone gives me weird looks when I tell them I cut a coat that doesn't fit them, but the final product is what I want. I want it to be a coat that shows the best parts of you and hides the worst parts of you. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else you need to mark or anything? I mean,
No, I
I
think
mean, we've got. I mean, you did.
I did.
Just kind
Yeah,
of
we're gonna put your buttonholes on.
Okay.
Yeah,
And will you do two like this, or do you think?
that's what I do.
Okay. Yeah.
I do it mostly because I used to always make the buttonholes for clients.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to make 8.
Yeah.
So if I can get you to get 4,
It's a very Italian.
isn't it? It's become a shtick now where
Yeah.
everyone's like, well, I'm doing 2 because it shows that I have
Yeah.
a suit made by Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's an interesting element of a bespoke garment is kind of those subtle signatures of the person that made it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's those little oddities. And
I guess
no
you
one
can
else
always
knows.
add extra buttons.
Yeah, I mean, you always can. But forget it.
Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to see this to finish.
Yeah, I think we're close. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, especially after one, the time frame that we haven't seen each other in, and then also your metamorphosis.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Eric, thank you so much.
Man, I
It's great
appreciate
seeing
it.
you.
I'm glad to come by. It's been great, Kirby.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing this come to completion because I think it's a garment.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's a beautiful roll.
Yeah.
And the cloth, I'm in love with the cloth.
Well, I know, and it's absolutely stunning. And the best part is no one else has
The other
it.
thing I love is this beautiful blue, right? Because it's not a kind of a thin overcheck. I mean, it's a nice broad, and it's just such a beautiful blue. I mean, it has a little bit of almost vibrancy and saturation to it.
Yep. It definitely draws the eye, but it's not ostentatious.
Yeah.
Like it's a really subtle addition of beautiful color that they did a great job. Lovette's bad.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Excellent.
Good to see you, Kirby.
Yeah, thank you.